Good morning. It's Friday morning here in Cypress, Texas. So I finished reading um, Temple Theology by Margaret Barker. And so it wasn't what I was expecting. This pastor, um, Robert Richardson, in Far, Texas, used to teach on the temple. He would go into great detail on how the priestly garments were made with the little uh, pomegranate seeds on the frill and the stones on the garment, and then on all the furniture in temple and how it was laid out. And he knew everything about it, right? And so I was expecting that with the purpose of, uh, you know, all the furniture. That's not what she talked about. All right. She talked about that there's the two different temples and the different beliefs of the Jews at the time of each one of the temples. And then she talked about uh, the followers of Abraham and the followers of the laws of Moses, and how there was a separation, that there was a distinction between the Melchizedek, king high priest, um, direction, leadership, and the the high priests of Moses, um, under Aaron, right? And how that they could only enter once a year, and they had to go through this great process, you know, to be cleansed, sacrificing a bull, and then the sheep, and then a goat, and letting the scapegoat go, and then whoever at the wherever the scapegoat ended up, that person would throw that goat over a cliff. And it's like, you know, and uh, so there was how the differences between the Melchizedek uh, king high priest teaching and um, the temple high priest um, in the line of Aaron were different, and that's interesting. So now I'm getting into the Mitzvah book. So this is where um, Bishop Michael Petro. Oh yeah, she also explained that the people that had explained the connection, right? They go through and explain the real interpretation and the real meanings of what the Bible is saying are apostles. Okay, they are not the 12 original apostles that learned at the foot of Jesus, right? But they were taught by them, through the line, okay, over and over and over again. Okay, so the parable from the apostles today was Moses. Moses didn't learn from Melchizedek. All right, like the first apostle was Adam, who got to talk directly with God. Okay, and then Noah. Well, then there was oh goodness, he's not in the Bible. Enoch. Then there's Enoch, who used to go back and forth in the different realms, okay, and bring messages from God. All right. Then there was Noah, who God talked to, and then there was Abraham, right? And actually, Abraham learned from Melchizedek, right? But he still got to talk to God, right? And but they made a connection with each other. They married, okay. They partnered, whatever. All right. And but then there was the period of captivity in Egypt, where they lost everything. They lost the God's language. They lost everything, right? And so then came Moses, all right? Oh yeah. And then there was the light. She talks about the light in Genesis, right? The Spirit of God being feminine, okay? And that same light that hovered over the water in Genesis was also the fire in the burning bush, right? And and that's how Moses learned the law, and the law was taught in God's language, Hebrew. And now she didn't say this, right? But the bishop did, which made total sense. That Moses learned the language, the Paleo-Hebrew, all right, of God up on Mount Sinai. So God was being very productive, killing two birds with one stone. He was giving him the law and teaching him the language at the same time. But also, see, imagine Moses praying and praying and praying and praying. I want to know you. I want to know you, God. Right? So God appears to him in the bush. Right? But then he gives him the law. It's like saying, this is me. Okay? The law is, this is where it comes together. All right? Is how the standard that God holds himself to. All right? But also, when you understand the Paleo-Hebrew, those meanings change. Okay? It's not as harsh. Right? It's not as deadly. Right? And he says, to utterly destroy, he's talking about their mindset. Okay, changing their mind. Okay, things like whenever they talk about a mountain, they're talking about your mind. Okay, when they went up to the mountain, right? They're talking about they went in their mind. Okay, same thing. Mountain, heaven, they're all in your mind. They're all your mind. Okay, when Christ says, you know, you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. He's talking about you can change somebody. You can move somebody's thoughts. Okay, if you have enough faith, right? What he's talking about is being able to teach this to somebody who's hard-headed, get them to understand. So when you understand the Paleo Hebrew and the symbolism, and then you read the law, right? And so that's what Apostle Michael Petra did. He put out the whole, what is it, 661 laws, and he doesn't, um, he doesn't give his version of it. He sends you to the meanings, Paleo Hebrew and Greek, right? So when you read it, you understand that interpretation of it, and then you make then up here you put it together. So it's a whole different story with that interpretation, and that's what I'm about to step into. Like about the mitzvah book, did the mitzvahs for about 4.5 months with Tim, and you know, getting his interpretation. Now we luckily we have classes that get together and go through it all, and we discuss it. So that's what I'm about to do. All right, and I'm excited about that. All right, have a great Friday.